Marnus, how did that not compare to the two in Perth for you?
Yeah, I think that innings there just... pink ball's just a bit strange. Like, you just never feel like you're really in. Where, like, last week I felt like, you know, at the whacker, you can score freely, you can start hitting the ball on the up. I feel like the pink ball can be a bit too paced. You know, some hold in the wicket. Yeah, we saw a few today. Jace bowled one cross seam and it like sat in the wicket and took a little bit of a divot, and then he bowled another one that skidded through a little bit lower, and then... I mean, I think my discipline was very good today. You know, I stuck to my process really well. Like we spoke about last time we spoke, it's the same. I think I did that really well. In terms of, you know, being fluid and feeling like I'm smacking the ball, it didn't really feel like that today.
Do you set yourself up, like, do you look at this as a big block of cricket for the next, say, 8 to 9 months, and is this the perfect start for what was ahead, or in some sense? Because obviously there's a bit of a gap before this.
Yeah, I sort of set it out there in the middle, but having that focus, you know, knowing that there's a lot of cricket on, you want to make sure your game's in order, always thinking ahead. You know, how is South Africa going to bowl to me? Obviously, how is the West Indies going to bowl to me? You know, making sure I take some of those learnings that I learned in Gaul against Sri Lanka. How am I going to play in India? So you're always thinking forward about how guys are going to attack you, how bowlers are going to bowl, and then how you're going to play and adapt your game to what's coming ahead.
It was quite noticeable. I think your first boundary was from your 63rd delivery. I mean, you left loads of balls that weren't necessarily high quality deliveries, but it's your patience willing to get in. Can you talk us through that process of just being so patient outside the off stump until they bowl to you?
Yeah, I think it's just pink ball. I just don't pick the ball up as well as early. So it's you know, sometimes people are like, oh, you're being real patient. It's just because, you know, when you're not seeing the ball, you know, beautifully, and you can see the seam and the rhythm and the swing and the wickets even, it's very hard to then pick up balls to cut or pull. So you almost just narrow it down and you just go, righto, I'll just watch the stumps and play down here till that comes, you know, as you play more and you get the rhythm of the wicket and the bounce. Obviously the whacker, Optus Stadium, you know, you can pick that up earlier, and then that's why you can score a bit more freely and a bit more, you know, take the ball on the up, see it out of the hand and stuff like that.
It's quite interesting. So that's still a thing, is it? When pink ball Test cricket started 8 years ago, they talked a lot about the change from red to pink. That's still a thing with the improvements to the ball?
Oh, it's definitely a thing. I mean, it could also be a thing, the fact that we don't train pink ball, we don't play pink ball in Shield cricket anymore, and we just rock up with a 3-day gap and then play a pink ball game. Right. So it could be that as well. But I definitely feel like the ball itself, it's just different, right? You know, the way they make the leather with the red cooker, they soak the leather, they dye the leather, where with pink cooker they actually paint it. Yeah. So they dye it pink, but because the pink dye doesn't take to the cowhide, they paint it as well, like a white cricket ball. Sure. So that reacts differently off the surface. You know, we were saying about Brathwaite, like that skiddy one is big. I remember facing Ashwin out here, and he got, I think, Steve and myself out, both with that skid off the pink ball. So it's just a bit of a different game. That there's not as much feel and a much rhythm. I mean, obviously Travis makes it look a bit differently because he's, you know, he smacks it and he batted beautifully out there. But yeah, I certainly didn't feel like the rhythm was there as much today.
You are someone... Sorry. You spoke about Travis Head there, and you are someone who kind of studies other batters as well. There were some question marks about him in the subcontinent, but in Australia, he just seems to be flowing. So, where, in your opinion, is Travis Head the Test batter now?
I mean, geez, I've been playing with Travis since we were 12. Played against each other at under 12 carnival, and then every carnival since then, and then we played together. And he's just one. He's always been able to change the game. You know, I've played many games against Travis where we've got South Australia on the ropes, and Travis comes out and he just changes the game, and all of a sudden you're scrambling. You know, he's hitting balls off the top of the stumps for 4, he's cutting balls, he's pulling. And he's just a hard person to stop when he's going, because he plays a bit awkward. He's a bit, you know, Like he sits back, gets low on that back foot and cuts the ball and carves the ball out to that offside. And I mean, I think the Australian conditions just suit him beautifully. Like, the bouncier wickets, the width, staying a little bit more leg side, cutting and pulling. And I mean, he's got a lot of confidence at the moment, obviously coming off that 160, sorry, I might be wrong there, 160 in that one day where he just absolutely took England down and then came off, batted beautifully last week, should have got 100, missed out unfortunately, and then came in well-deserved, deserved the 100 today.
And just on your batting, like how much of it is feel? Like because when you do start scoring runs, you score a lot of runs like in a glut. So do you get into that feel with your batting where you just know the runs are coming?
Yeah, I think you just get into that mode where you feel like your processes are really good and you're sticking to your game relentlessly. And then the feel and the rhythm come and go. Like you feel good, you feel like you're smacking the ball one day. Today I didn't feel like that. I felt like it was a bit grindy. Worked it around, there wasn't as much rhythm and feel today as there has been in some of my other knocks. But I think when I have done it previously, it's all about the process. It's just that rhythm, like just understanding when you should just rein it back in, when you try and take the game on. And that just reading the match a little bit is probably how I've done it in the past and how I'm trying to do it now.
Marnus, Tim Payne said yesterday that he sees you as a future leader and believes that Australia should be investing in you in the future. Have you had any conversations with George or Andrew about perhaps getting a bit of experience in leadership, and do you see yourself in that way on the field?
Yeah, look, I think I'm a leader in this team. I don't need a captain or a vice captain symbol next to my name to be a leader in aspects of this game. Talking to people about batting, helping the captain, whoever it is out there, if they need an idea or anything really. If we need to make sure we need to speed up for the over rate, making sure I'm helping out where I can. In terms of formal leadership, like I said, I've been around this question many times before. I would love to, if that opportunity came and there was a formal leadership role for me at some stage down the track for any of the teams that I play for, it'd be great to learn and to grow in that space more. But for me, it's just about playing cricket and enjoying it while I can.
I know you guys don't read it, but the West Indies assistant bowling coach said they thought they'd found something in your game they could target short pitch bowling after the stuff in Perth. If you were aware of it, what did you think of it, and were you surprised they didn't adopt it out there?
Look, it's going to be pretty tricky to bowl short stuff when you bowl it down, because if you cook Alzari, then you're left with two bowlers, and then you have to bowl spin. So maybe if they had that fourth quick, they would have gone to that plan a little bit more. But I've got no doubt there'll be other teams that are going to come and they're going to try that. So I'm making sure that I'm doing the work behind the scenes, making sure I'm ready for that when it comes, and how am I going to play it. And it just comes down to reading the game, understanding where their fielders are, understanding when I should ride the ball, duck, pull, and understanding when I can do that depending on the fields they have.
Marnus, have you made a conscious effort to sort of wind back some of the exaggerated movements and even sort of the sound and the no-run stuff at all, or is that as much as ever? It just doesn't seem to have been quite as at the forefront this summer.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just more, that stuff really comes out when you're nervous and you're a little bit, you need that energy and you're trying to get yourself going in that sort of, when you're in that sort of state. At the moment, I'm feeling really calm, just trying to stick to the process, making sure I just keep doing the things, go through my routine, watch the ball, understand where they're trying to attack me at that certain time in the game, and then try and make a plan for that. Sometimes, when you're a little bit nervous and you're a bit on edge, then, that's when that sort of over, what you guys have probably become accustomed to with me, but that overexcitement, that loudness, and maybe it's also with age, it's just something that as you've matured in Test cricket, it just has become less and less.
A lot of sports people in the past have spoken about having children as being something that affects their cricket. I wonder whether there's a link between what Daniel's asked and that, like having a kid and maybe like having some different kind of pressures, but in a good way.
Yeah, that's spot on. Yeah, I think that certainly could be it. I mean, I definitely love finishing a game and going home and seeing my daughter and my wife. So it's certainly something I enjoy a lot, and I miss. You know, obviously they're not here this game, but it's certainly something that I really enjoyed last week.
A couple more folks, Louis.
Yeah, just on Travis head, I kind of spoke there about how he's always been a guy since the under 12s that kind of gets into awkward areas and stuff. How much of his success during last year's Ashes and today as well is kind of about him embracing, or the team encouraging him to kind of be different, be awkward?
Yeah, a lot. I always felt like once we had Travis once he played, like he wanted to, and like we knew he could, almost just taking the shackles off and taking the reins off and just letting him play. You know, he's certainly not someone that's, you know, got the perfect forward defence, but he certainly takes attacks down. He's so hard to bowl to, and when he's on a roll, he makes big scores. I mean, he's been doing it since we were very young. I've seen him smack all our bowlers around in under-19s, in Sheffield Shield, in one-day cricket, in everything. So I've got so much confidence now that he's playing in his manner and taking the game on. And like you said, it comes back to his process, right? That's just the way he's got to do it, because when he does it like that, he's so consistent. And I mean, I think his stats came up on the board, and I was like, mate, this bloke strikes at 100. He strikes at 100 in Test cricket. I mean, like, I sort of sat there and I was like, mate, that's ridiculous. You know, like, the way that he's consistently done it, you know, for 30 matches now, averaging, you know, over 40, striking at 100. I mean, that's very impressive, you know, to someone that's doing that and striking at that rate so consistently.
Marnus, has the conversation around David Warner in the last couple of days had any noticeable impact either on him or on the squad, the way he's been carrying himself around the group?
The thing with Davey is he's just so consistent around the group, and you know, he's so, you know, loved by the group. You know, me personally, you know, I really enjoy his company, and I haven't really felt too much of a shift, but obviously there has been a lot on his mind, and you know, it's certainly a period of time now where you know, I missed a lot of the stuff that came out during the batting innings and stuff like that. But I mean, his demeanour and his personality doesn't seem like it's changed from, you know, just looking in.